I don't know how to explain this without sounding insane, but I promise, this happened exactly as I'm telling it. We've lived in this house for almost 5 years. 2 floors, 3 bedrooms upstairs, an unfinished basement. Nothing fancy. It's always been enough room for me, my wife, and our 2 kids. We know every corner of it, or we thought we did. About 2 weeks ago, my daughter was playing hide and seek with her younger brother. He couldn't find her, and she wouldn't come out. After 10 minutes, I started calling for her, and eventually found her sitting in the hallway, pale, staring at the wall. I asked what happened, and she said, "I was hiding in the small room with the black carpet." There's no such room in our house. I assumed she was making something up or mixing it up with a dream. But that night, curiosity got the better of me. After everyone went to sleep, I started walking around, checking closets, crawl spaces, anything. And then I noticed something strange in the hallway upstairs. The wall between our bedroom and the bathroom had always seemed thicker than it should have been. I tapped it. Hollow. Just drywall. I followed the lines and realized something was off. The measurements didn't add up. So I cut into the wall. Behind the drywall was a door. A real one. Old. Covered in dust. No handle, just a keyhole. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I told my wife. She thought I was joking until she saw it. We argued about opening it. She wanted to call someone, maybe a contractor, but I couldn't wait. That night, I took a screwdriver and pried the door open. Inside was a small room, maybe 10 by 10 feet. Black carpet, just like my daughter said. But nothing else. No lights, no furniture. Just a single window that didn't lead anywhere, just a solid brick. We never noticed the missing space because it didn't show from the outside. It wasn't part of the house's blueprint. I stepped inside and instantly felt heavy. The air was thick, like it didn't want me there. But the worst part? There were drawings all over the walls. Childlike. Dozens of them. Stick figures. All with their eyes blacked out. Some were hanging. Some were crying. And in the center of the wall, in what looked like a child's handwriting, it said, "Don't let him out again." I sealed the door that night. We don't talk about it anymore. And every time I walk down that hallway, I feel like something's watching from behind the wall, waiting. When I was in college, I took a semester off to help take care of my uncle. He lived alone on a rural stretch of land outside town, nothing around but cornfields and quiet. Harrow Lane was a dead-end road, and his house was the last one before the woods swallowed everything up. He'd been acting strange, according to my mom. Said things like, "The woods are watching again," and started keeping all the windows covered, even during the day. I figured he was just lonely, maybe losing it a little. So I moved in to help with errands, meals, whatever he needed. The first few nights were fine, calm, quiet. But every night, just before 3 a.m., the house would creak. Not old wood creaks. Footstep creaks. Starting in the back hallway and slowly moving toward my room. Every time I'd sit up, listening, and nothing ever came. One night I asked him about it. He just shook his head and said, "Don't open your door until it's light outside." Ever. I thought it was paranoia, until that Friday. That night, the creaking started earlier, 2:43 a.m. I checked the time because I remember waking up and seeing the clock glowing red. Then came the scratching. Not on the floor. On my door. Light at first. Then more deliberate. Like something was testing the wood. I whispered, "Uncle?" But I heard his voice from down the hall, shaky and low. "Don't open it." The scratching stopped. The creaking moved away. The next morning, I found deep gouges in the wood, 4 long claw marks. Not like a cat. Too wide. Too even. I confronted my uncle. He looked so tired. So hollow. "I let it in once," he said. "Back in '84. It doesn't want to leave now. It's attached to the house." That night, I didn't sleep. Around 2:50, I went to the living room and sat with the lights on, waiting. At 3:02 a.m., the front door unlocked itself. I didn't move. The knob turned slowly. Then it stopped. Nothing came in. But when I checked the porch in the morning, there were muddy, barefoot prints, leading from the forest to the door, and none going back. I used to work maintenance at a private boarding school out in Vermont. The campus was huge, sprawling grounds, multiple dorms, and a massive main building that dated back to the 1800s. Most of the time, I worked alone. That was fine by me. There was one part of the campus they didn't use anymore, the north wing. It had been closed off years before I got there, due to structural issues. But here's the thing. Every few months, we were told to go check it for leaks, mold, or rodents. Just to stay ahead of any liability. No one ever wanted that job. Eventually, I volunteered, thinking I'd get some quiet time. I wish I hadn't. The north wing was cold. Colder than it should have been. Dust everywhere, air thick like wet concrete. The hallways were long, empty, and completely silent. Until you reached the last door on the right. Room 213. I'd walk by it and hear whispering. Always just low enough that I couldn't make out words, but loud enough that I knew it wasn't my imagination. At first, I thought maybe it was the wind in the vents or some old speaker system humming. But the rest of the wing was dead silent. No airflow. No power. Nothing. One time I got brave, or stupid, and opened the door. The room inside was empty. Just a single chair facing the far wall. But the second I stepped in, the whispering stopped. Not faded, stopped. Like it was holding its breath. I stood there, waiting for something to happen. Then the door slammed shut behind me. I spun around and yanked it open. No one was there. No wind. No explanation. I left and didn't look back. Later that night, back in my apartment, I found dust on my shoes and a smear of something black on my pant leg. I washed it off. Thought maybe it was oil from a pipe. But then I started hearing whispers at home. Same tone. Same rhythm. Always around 2 a.m. I'd wake up to the sound of someone speaking just outside my bedroom door. The worst night? I finally recorded it. When I played the audio back, I could hear it clearly. You sat in his chair. I never went back to room 213. 2 months later, the north wing burned down. They blamed faulty wiring. But there was no power running to that part of the school.